Welcome to Roundabout a Story. My name's Claire, and I'd like to read you a story called The Window by Kirsty McNeil. Sally dreamed of having her own garden. She wanted to feed the birds. She'd have one of those feeding stations, like the ones you see in those catalogues that come through the letterbox. You know the ones. They're full of weird and wonderful inventions that you don't see in the high street shops. Like those giant slippers for both your feet, and you can plug them in. They warm up your feet when you're cold, and you can flick the switch and they'll massage your feet too, while you read a book or gaze at the goggle box, or, as Sally hoped, watch the birds feeding on your deluxe and fabulous multi-dimensional super squirrel-proof funky feeder for all your fantastic garden bird needs. Sally knew lots of bird names too. Goldfinches were her favourite, so she would definitely include niggery seed in her deluxe feeder when she had her own garden, because goldfinches love niggery seed. From her second floor flat window, Sally could see the street below. Some cars coming and going all day, and lots of people, running, scooting, talking on their phones, arguing, or just walking along, all day. There was one tree in her street, and if she craned her neck and pushed her cheek and head into the corner of the kitchen window, she could see it. She knew that birds visited that tree. She saw the blossom when it arrived in springtime. Then in the summer the large green leaves would come, before turning golden burnt orange in autumn, and eventually, when the leaves fell off in winter, the bare branches made it virtually impossible to see the tree at all, even if she squashed her whole face into the corner of the window. One spring morning, just as Sally finished her porridge, she noticed something moving on the pavement below her window. It was a bird. She smiled for a moment, but then her joy turned to concern. The bird was flapping about like a flappy thing and appeared unable to take off and fly. Sally jumped up, ran to the door and grabbed her shoes and coat. She grabbed her net too, the net she used to save spiders before her mum could hoover them up with her silver rod of death. She set off to save the bird. When she reached the spot, the bird had vanished, not even a feather in sight. She imagined one of the local cats crunching happily away on a wing, or one of the kids who chased the pigeons relentlessly around the town square, holding it up proudly, having finally caught one, showing it triumphantly to their family. Sally solemnly returned home, but not before glimpsing at the bottom of the tree. There were no birds there either today. The next morning, it happened again. And the next, but by the time she got there, floof, the bird had vanished. Sally just couldn't understand it. She asked her mum, who was too busy for birds. She read her bird books to find out if this sort of thing was normal, but it seemed there was nothing written about zealous flapping and vanishing as normal behaviour for a city pigeon. The next morning, the sun shone through the windows and there were no birds struggling on the pavement. Sally was relieved. She had for the past few nights been sleeping with her coat and shoes on and with her net in the bed beside her. It was awfully hot, all this being prepared lark. So this time she went to bed in just her pyjamas. But that night there was a terrible storm. Horizontal rain bashed at the window like 1,000 hungry children tapping on a sweet shop door all at the same time. Sally woke up and couldn't get back to sleep. She was so worried about the birds. Where would they sleep? How could they stay dry? What about the fledglings? It was springtime when that sort of thing happened. When time for breakfast finally came, Sally sleepily sat at the table. "Oh, look at that crazy pigeon," said her mother, pointing at the window with her cup of tea. "It's trying to have a swim in a puddle." Sally jumped up. "I have to save him." "Him? What? It's okay, Sal. He's just having a bath. Dirty thing." Sally had never seen a bird have a bath before. Now, Sally just loves the rain, because if she's lucky, she gets to watch Bath Time Bob. Yep, that's what she calls the pigeon now, flapping like a flappy thing right outside her window, while she dreams of owning a two-tiered waterfall complete with babbling brook sound effects luxury bird bath in her very own garden that she will have one day. The end.